Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing a or not even top 5 video. Today is going to be a ranking of all the classes in the game. So 1 to 6, you've got the Science, Skill, Mutant, Tech, Cosmic and Mystic classes. That is not the order of the ranking before you click off this video. Stick around to find out where everyone ranks. But we'll jump into it just before. I think a lot of the classes are really good, especially the top 3 are very all interchangeable. I think maybe number 1, everyone knows what it is, and it is the best in the game. However, it's very close, and I think that's definitely the same for the bottom 3. But all classes are very good. It doesn't necessarily mean, say, this bottom in the class number 6, the lowest ranked class, there isn't some really great champs in there, potentially some of the best in the game. It just, in my opinion, is a little bit weaker compared to the classes in higher up in this list. So let's jump in. Let's start with the tech class. So in my opinion, the tech class is the weakest. I understand, there are Ghost is an example, Nimrod, Tech Doom, Mega Sentinel. There are some really great champs in here. There's definitely some underrated champs in here. I think Ultron is very underrated. I think he is easily, a very, very good champ. I don't know what I was going to say there, easily what, but he's very, very good. Nebula, another one everyone would have, or more recently the Rank 5 video came out. I think it's from Jelly. I can't remember his name. Jelly something, where he absolutely shreds with Nebula. She's amazing. Sam Wilson doesn't get enough love. Ant-Man Future could be really good. Warlock and Hulkbuster, 2 very, very strong champs. However, I just think this class is a little bit weaker than the rest of the classes in the game. I just think it's good on defense in Battlegrounds. You have got some really good defenders like Warlock and Nimrod, but I think it's very countable now. And because the best class, because it's the worst class in the game, I don't think the Cosmic class is very, very strong. And because obviously having class advantage against this tech class does make it, every time you see a tech champ, you aren't fearful of them if you've got one of those strong Cosmic champs. And I think that's why I personally would put it low. Don't get me wrong, this and the class in 5th are very, very close. I really struggled to put one above the other. I wasn't sure which, but in the end I went with what my personal preference was, rather than my personal preference, and also what I judged as the best champs. I think these champs are very good, but they're all very short form. You've really only got Shuri there, who's really good for the Abyss, but also they're all very similar, armor ups, etc. You don't have much, I guess, a differential in the tech class, but they are very good. And don't get me wrong, if you disagree, do let me know why in the comments down below, why you think the tech class could be a little bit underrated by myself. But yeah, I think they rank bottom, but that doesn't mean at all that they're a weak class. It just means that these all of the other 5 are stronger. Coming in at 5th is the skill class. For me, I think the skill class has the opportunity to be really good. It's got some amazing defenders in here. Your Mole Mans, your Atuma, when he gets his buff, is going to be a really good. Crossbones, Hitmonkey, Jabari Panther, Korg, Killmonger, all these classes that are very, very good. I think the problem with the skill class at the moment is quite similar to the class above it, which will be the Mutant class. The top is very, very good, but the middle is quite weak. You have these champs, maybe the top 10 champs in the class are very strong, and the same as the Mutant class, the top 10 champs in there are very, very strong, and they excel in different aspects of the game. But when you get to the lower end, it does start to feel a little bit more like, you have to get these top tier champs. You've got your Baron Zemos, you've got your Mole Man, Black Widow, Deadly Origin. Then like the middle, like the Black Cats, the Thors, the Hawkeyes, they don't quite compete with the Strifes and the Professor X's and the Wolverine Weapon X's of the world. And I just think that's why the Mutant class is a little bit above them. They do have some great abilities. They do have some really strong defenders. You would have seen from my video a couple of days ago that they've got Korg as one of the strongest defenders in the game. In my opinion, they've actually got the strongest defensive class, them or Mystics. I think the fact that they've got Kingpin, they've got Korg, Killmonger, Nick Fury, Atuma when he gets his buff up, Mole Man, they're all quite challenging champs to face up against. I think maybe they're up there with the Mystics as the best defensive class, but I think that will be a video for tomorrow or the day after. Best defensive class and best attacking class, just to give you guys a better understanding that this is a bit more, it's not as similar and as simple as this being the best class for everything, but I just think as an overall, this class is probably the second weakest in the game, and that's unfortunately why it's come in at 5th place. But again, like the tech class, do not get me wrong, your champs like Nick Fury, Crossbones, Hitmonkey, Mantis, Kingpin, they are some of the best champs in the game. Kingpin could arguably be one of the best champs in the game with all synergies. People definitely think that, and you can definitely see why. The same with Ghost in the last class and Nimrod. Those champs are very, very good, but as an overall, I think the skill class comes in at 5th. The class above it, as I mentioned in there, is the Mutant class. I think this class is actually, I just think it's in need of buffs. I would say the top classes, the Science, Cosmic, and Mystic, you've got some really, really strong top 10 champs in there. And with the skill, the Mutant class, the top 5, top 6 champs are really good, but when you get below that, they start to become quite weak. I think there are, again, don't get me wrong, there's still some very, very good champs in here. I just think in comparison, they are a little bit weaker. I think there are so many champs in here that need a buff. Wolverine X-23, buff. Storm, good, but needs a buff. Rogue, buff. Psylocke, buff. Old Man Logan, not great, needs a buff. Jubilee, buff. Iceman's getting a buff. Deadpool needs a buff. Both Cyclopses need a buff. Cable needs a buff. Beast needs a buff. Gambit needs a buff. Emma Frost needs a buff. I just think, Nightcrawler needs a buff. Another Deadpool needs a buff. Sabretooth needs a buff. Sauron, good, but needs a buff. There's so many of these champs that need buffs. They need a lot of work, the Mutant class. Arguably, maybe the skill class could be above them, but I just think because of the champs that they've got in the top 5, you prefer, like Professor X, Archangel, Apocalypse are 3 great examples. I think Archangel, best nuke in the game, other than maybe Gallon, but even then, if you go to high health pools, Archangel will finish the fight first, especially it's less likely that somebody's going to be both poison and bleed immune. You've also got Domino, best defender in the game. Kitty Pryde, second best attacker, second best champ in the whole game, in my opinion. Magneto, what he does to metal champs. Omega Red, really good double immunity champ. Professor X, very, very good. Apocalypse with the Horseman is absolutely incredible. I just think this class, because of that man there, is exactly why this class comes in at 4 rather than 5, and that's because the stuff that he can do to those champs above him, who may struggle a bit more, like Storms, your Cables, when they are paired with Apocalypse, he just makes them that much better, that much more significant, and allow you to use them a lot more, and is why I think the Mutants are at 4. I think they need a lot of buffs, they need a lot of works, but they have some champs in here who really benefit from Apocalypse, or like Kitty Pryde and Professor X, are a bit more challenging to play, but once you get used to them, they're very, very good. So the Mutant comes in at 4 for me, and this is where it gets really, really tricky. I think I'm torn between Science and Mystic for the number 3 spot. I think in the Science class you have some really amazing champs, really strong champs, especially given the new champs, the Cassie Langs and the Spots. And then the Mystic class you've got some really good defenders, some really good buffs. But I think coming in at number 3, it's going to be the Mystic class. I think, again, very, very close to the Science class. I think you've got some really good champs here. Arguably the best defensive class. Rintrah, Ebony Maw, Mordo, Mephisto, America Chavez, Absorbing Man, Dragon Man, Doctor Doom, Juggernaut, Longshot, Scarlet Witch, Sasquatch, The Hood, Wong, Wiccan, Spider-Man Symbiote, or Spider-Man Supreme, sorry. You've just got so many really, really strong champs in here. Champs who are really good on the defensive side. Champs like Rintrah and Doctor Doom, who are 2 of the best champs in the whole game. Tigra, who is up there as well. Your Juggernauts, who help you massively in EOP. I think this class is really strong, and it is improving. There wasn't long ago where this class was the worst class in the game, in my opinion. But I just think it's taken leaps and bounds, especially with the addition of Absorbing Man. I think Absorbing Man was the main reason I thought I could have put them second. However, thinking about Cassie Lang and thinking about the addition of Spot as well, the fact how strong those two champs are, I think, for me personally, the Mystic class has to come second or third, because Absorbing Man is so strong and Doctor Doom is so strong, and you have all of these other champs, but I just think the class above them, the Science class, have so many great counters to all these champs. You know, Mordo, Evade, anyone with slow can stop Mordos from Evade. Ebony Maw, if you've got a miss counter like Quicksilver, that works. Rintra, shredding with Human Torch. Human Torch is a very large reason this class is in fact in third and not second, which I think tells you a lot about how good he is. But I think Absorbing Man's addition, upcoming additions like perhaps the High Evolutionary, we don't know if that's going to be Mystic yet or Tech. Adam Warlock's probably going to be Cosmic. But there are champs in the future who look really, really strong, and I think adding them to this could give them a chance of coming second. However, for a minute, I think the Science champs are in second for me. I think in here you have a lot of underrated champs people forget about a lot. Immortal Hulk, Thing, great defender, but also really, really good in incursions and on attack in long form. The Overseer, very good against poison champs. Mr. Fantastic, another one people forget about. Human Torch, Red Guardian, Spider-Ham, Scorpion and Spot, two absolutely incredible champs. Scorpion especially, arguably the best Science champ in this game. I think he really, really has excelled this. I think if it wasn't for Scorpion and Spot, I think this, not saying that Spot is the second, but I think his addition, along with Cassie Lang, who looks like an amazing champion, who will be really useful and will sort of, I think, will increase in popularity and will start to become more and more loved and appreciated. And I think once that happens, you'll see why this class is so strong, but it's got loads of versatility in it, in my opinion. I think you've got immunities all over the place. You've got champs who can who can counter miss and evade. You've got champs who are bleed immune, poison immune, shock immune, build buffs, no buffs, go invisible, all of that, like return damage, and even in Electro. I think you've just got so many great champs here, so many great synergy champs as well, that like Captain America, who can really push up the rest of the champs in this game. And I think that is sort of, I just think the Science champ is very strong all around. You know, even these champs like Abomination, Electro, regular Captain America, MODOK, Invisible Woman, Luke Cage, Rhino, you know, all of those champs who need a buff are still very useful. Maybe not Captain America, but Electro has that return damage. Abomination, lots of poisons. Invisible Woman, annoying to fight against. MODOK, auto block, annoying. Rhino, unstoppable, unblockable, dashing. She-Hulk, very good on attack. Few Furies, Spider-Man getting his buff, Hulk getting his new buff. I just think this class could very easily be at the top if it just wasn't for a few future and recent additions to the top class. But if I made this in 3 months' time with the addition of Cassie Lang and her popularity growing, Spot, and then you also have Scorpion and Lizard, Lizard, and then potentially Sandman, two very most likely Science champs. I think you'll start to see that this class could very, very likely hit the number one spot. And for now they come in second, but definitely could be one to rise. So we're at the penultimate. We're at number one. I've obviously got the Cosmic class. I think this is just this is pretty easy. It's pretty obvious to know that this one was coming, and I think it's for so many reasons. Let's start with the obvious reason. It's the best champ in the game. You know, if you get this man awakened, he makes everything so much easier. EOP, saving loads of revives. Grandmaster Gauntlet, he can take so many fights. Abyss of Legends, he goes immortal. Questing, he just goes immortal. The immortality is absolutely massive. And then the fact that that's combined with him having the feats of strength and making him such a strong champ mean that, you know, this class already has the benefit But not only that, you've got Gallon, who is probably the best attacker in any Battlegrounds meta, really. As well as this, there's the heralds that you can create can benefit any of the champs in this class. Literally any single one can become better using Gallon. He's a cosmic apocalypse, basically. Maybe not to the same strength, but definitely as useful, and can have its very good advantages. I think you also have to look closer in it. You've got Hyperion, Null, Gaul, 3 champs who are potentially top 5 in their class. You know, Null for me is in the top 5. Gaul with his recent buff is really good. You've even got the pre-fights of Odin, Vision Arcus, who always gets forgotten about. And then when you go down here into the champs I haven't quite got, but some people do. You've got Hulkling, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Corvus Glaive. Really good questing champs, really good attackers. And then in the fact, in Hulkling is a very good defender. That's what I'm trying to get out, trying to spit that out. Hulkling, very good defender. Cosmic Ghost Rider, Corvus Glaive, 2 great attackers. Terrax, Super Skrull, Venom, Venompool. You know, 3 champs who don't quite get the love maybe they deserve, but you know, definitely need. I think the fact that you've got Hercules in here, Gallon, and Hulkling, champs who could very much be 3 of the top 5 in this whole game, make it a class that's so well rounded. Cosmic Ghost Rider can take any fight. People love Corvus for questing. Maybe, yes, just maybe, that this class needs buffs. You know, Cyberman's Symbiote needs a buff. Phoenix needs a buff. Captain Marvel, Groot, Miss Marvel, Heimdall, Cole Obsidian, Carnage, maybe Gamora again, but that's maybe not. Thor, Superior Iron Man, Venom the Duck. You know, these are all champs who need a buff, but I think because this class is so top heavy and the champs at the top are so good, it does just mean that you are you know, it's up there for me as the best class in the game. That does it for the ranking. If you don't agree, do let me know in the comments below why, what you would change, what order you would go with instead. I would love to hear why, and then I can take it on board, see if it can sway any of my opinions. As I said, with the bottom 2, the tech and skill, very interchangeable. Actually, to be fair, tech, skill, and mutant, very interchangeable. If it wasn't for, say, Kitty and Archangel, maybe skill could go above the mutant class. We also have new additions coming in, you know. Viv Vision is going to make the tech class very good. She looks like a great champ. Kate Bishop also looks really fun to play. Quite difficult, perhaps, with the perfect timing, but will be very useful. And I definitely think there's that there's the chance for this whole list to change within 3 months. You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to come out. You don't know who's going to be needed more than others. So for now, this is my list. Do let me know in the comments below if you disagree. Check out the Discord as well. I haven't plugged that as much recently, but there's a few guys in there already. If you're one of those guys, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much for being in there. If you're not and you like these videos, do join. We'll have a discussion about it. I can also, I'll also be in there just for a chat. If you've got any advice on EOP or anything like that when I'm trying to get through it, then I'd also love to hear that. So yeah, that will basically do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.